Okie dokie. It says that we're going live. It might take a second or two to do that, and I may have to turn the volume off. I don't know, but we'll find out in a second. But I wanted to welcome everybody to 2024 Michael Harris Hypnosis Mastermind Group, and you guys are most welcome. Today, we're going to talk on the front end about the foundations of hypnosis. And, you know, some of you guys are very up to speed with hypnosis. Some of you guys are not up to speed with hypnosis. Okay, it's yeah, good. It's muted on the other side. So cool. So let's get started just with some basic. I just want you to imagine for a moment that you're in the midst of an ancient tribe. The fire's crackling, there's dancing shadows, and there's drums just beating rhythmically and that synchronize with your heart. You can feel the tribe moving in unison. And believe it or not, this is an early form of hypnosis. Rhythmic sounds and rhythmic movements all lead to a trance-like state. And although we're going to be talking a lot about hypnosis and we'll be doing NLP stuff, it's really important for you guys to understand that trance, a static states, they happen every single day, every single moment. And what I want you guys to do is to be more aware of how you're inducing trance and what types of trance that you are evoking. So let's get started with a little bit of history. Starting way back when, 1700s, there was a guy by the name of Franz Mesmer who introduced the concept of animal magnetism, and he used to do it with these metal rods, you know, and he'd connect people and he'd heal people and he'd do all kinds of interesting things with them until one day he forgot his metal rods. Okay, but he was very convinced that people were able to manifest animal magnetism or manifest trance anytime that they wanted to. And he got a lot of popularity going until he, you know, hacked off the powers that be. And you know what happens when you've got people healing people that are not paying the physicians? They don't like it all that much. So he kind of got kicked out. And he kind of stayed kicked out. Hypnosis had a bad name until a fellow by the name of James Braid comes along in the 1840s, and he's studying what Mesmer had been doing, and he's just going, there's something there. There's a process there. And he started taking a look at it from a practical and scientific standpoint. He was able to create and recreate trance over and over in a method that was repeatable and teachable. Now, James Braid is also the fellow who coined the name hypnosis. And then later on, 20 years later, he really was kind of disappointed in himself that he should have called this process monoideaism, because what happens is like in a normal waking state, we can pay attention to 5 to 7 plus or minus 2 things at a time. And when you begin to enter into a profound state of like somnambulistic trance, that focus begins to narrow down to, you know, 3 and 2 and then 1, until that's what the person is focused on. But the term hypnosis, which means the god of sleep, you are doing anything but sleeping. Braid's work was kind of like a bridge, taking us from old understandings to new understandings. And he really did a lot for the industry. There's actually still a James Braid Society that you can pay attention to. I'll just also another side note. Sigmund Freud briefly tried hypnosis, but he dropped it in favor of his talkie therapy, and I just thought that was something interesting that he rejected it. Jung, on the other hand, was very much a fan of hypnosis. But let's skip ahead. Now we're in the 1880s, and there's these two fellows by the name of William and Charles. And you may have heard of them. They're called the Mayo brothers, and they were really gifted surgeons. And what most people are unaware of is in a 10-year period, they performed 24,000 surgeries without an ether related death. And that was a big deal back then, is that the surgery didn't kill you and they didn't have antibiotics, that the anesthesia could knock you out too. And they noticed that when they did guided visualization or hypnosis prior to and after surgery, they needed a quarter of the amount of ether. The patients healed up faster. They had fewer complications. And just recently, somewhere around 2008, 2010-ish, the Mayo Clinic reintroduced guided visualization for their doctors and patients in operating theaters. And now we're going to move to, I see a guy on here, James Scott. We're going to move on to your favorite guy in the whole world, Dave Ellman. Dave Ellman in the 1970s wrote a book called Hypnosis. If it's not in your library, I highly recommend that you get that book. It is like the ultimate how-to on hypnosis. And what's interesting is prior to 1955, hypnosis could only be administered by an MD or a pastor. And then after the Korean War, the psychology and the psychotherapy community was so overwhelmed by soldiers returning from World War II and the Korean War that they opened up the field to non-MD or pastoral counselors. And I can tell you, they have been trying to shut that door ever since. It's too late. Cat's out of the bag. In the 50s and 60s, when Dave Ellman came onto the scene, he was all about making this really useful and practical, not, a theoretical thing, but he was out there like on a daily basis, talking to physicians, talking to dentists and therapists about how to utilize hypnotic phenomena in a practical way to help people get better. His big specialty was working with dentists and doing hypnotic anesthesia or analgesia, in which he would actually demonstrate on dentists, and he would pinch their skin and he'd be talking to them, and while they were busy talking to him, he was sticking a needle through their skin, and he's like, "Did you feel that?" And they go, "Feel what?" He'd go, "Look down." And they'd have a hypodermic needle sticking through their skin that they never even felt. So there is a tremendous amount of things that you can do with hypnosis. It's not just for entertainment. Ellman's approach was about making hypnosis accessible and showing practical applications. And his legacy, it just continues today. I think, James, didn't you train with his son? Yeah, cool. Okay, so it's still out there. Then we're going to come into the mid 20th century. We're going to talk about my personal hero, Milton H. Erickson. And Erickson was a psychiatrist and an MD who absolutely revolutionized hypnosis as we know it. He is the founder of conversational hypnosis. He published over 3,000 formal medical papers on experimental hypnosis, and he is part of or authored a total of 93 books. My personal suggestion for people who are interested in Milton Erickson is they have a complete 3 volumes of his published papers. It's totally worth owning. Now, Erickson was a little bit different than most formal hypnotists. Most people that learned hypnosis, and there's tons of books on doing direct suggestion and all that stuff, sit down, close your eyes, I'm going to tell you what to do. And Erickson's approach was completely different than that. And part of it had to do with the fact that this gentleman in his lifetime had polio twice, once when he was a child and once older in life. And one of the things that he noticed, particularly when he was a kid, one day sitting on the porch, because that's all he could do was sit on the porch and blink his eyes. And he's watching his brothers and sisters playing, and he's imagining in his head that he's playing and running and being with his thing. And he notices that his chair's rocking. And when he notices that his chair's rocking, he's like, wait, am I doing that? And he goes, tries to make his chair move. Nope. He wasn't the one that was rocking the chair. And he had this thought that something else was rocking his chair. And that literally began his path into non-directional and conversational hypnosis. Now, you can see the ripple effect in Erickson's work, not just in therapy rooms, but also in the way that we understand communication. 2 weeks from now, when we do another call, we're going to talk about the foundations of NLP, and I'll be talking about this fellow again. But Erickson's legacy is woven into the fabric of modern psychology, hypnosis, cognitive behavioral therapy, NLP, and even modern coaching. His influence teaches us that the mind is a playground of possibilities just waiting to be explored. Now, let's fast forward to today. Hypnosis is no longer a mysterious, art where you have to go to some, dark room with a wooden chair with a single light hanging down, and they open the door, let you in, close it, stuff. Hypnosis is really, really well known all over the place, particularly in the UK. When you go to a medical facility, you walk down the hall and the doctor's here, the dentist is here, the physical therapist is here, your massage therapist or Reiki person, and as you go down the hall, you can meet your hypnotist. I really wish that the US would kind of like come to the party and make all of these therapies available and skip kind of the symptom treatment that we have just gotten so hooked upon. So you're going to see hypnosis more and more. It helps people manage pain. It helps people manage anxiety. It improves healing. Any type of autoimmune disease, which means they don't know what causes it, they don't know how to get rid of it, is a great candidate for the hypnotic process. And the only thing, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, I am just not a fan of hypnosis for entertainment, which is fine. There are people out there that do it. I get an email every year from a guy by the name of Flip something, who is a stand-up comedian and does hypnosis and stuff like that. And he's not hurting anybody. But I really want to emphasize for the listeners that hypnosis is a really practical tool for helping change your life. It goes across almost all areas. If you're ambitious, hypnosis can help you. If you need self-healing, hypnosis can help you. If you're going through a transition, hypnosis can help you. And the fun part about it is it may not be good for business, but you don't need me to facilitate hypnosis. You can do self-hypnosis. You can use it to quit smoking. You can use it to lose weight. You can use it to overcome fears. You literally use it to change a habit or a behavior that's been holding you back. All you have to do is know the procedure. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next year, is we're going to be talking about simple procedures that you can do on your own. And it's important to me, and I don't know that anybody else has ever done this, is I want to create a platform that accesses all of the working styles. Now that might be a new word for you, or a new term for you, but working styles are really, really simple. There's independent people, people who can do stuff on their own, and if you try to help them, you're slowing them down. Then there's proximity people, which is a huge component of our population, of where we need connection with other people. We don't need them to do our work. We need that connection, whether it is physical connection or verbal connection or visual connection. Once they have it, they can get tons of stuff done. Now, you may have heard of the Peter principle. Okay, this is where you got somebody and they're really good at what they do. They're a top performer, but nobody ever looks at the environment that they're in. And when they promote them and move them to their own private office, with the door that closes and all this stuff, they are no longer in their most preferred working style. And frequently they fail miserably unless they get a mentor, which is proximity, or that they have consistent communication with their higher ups or with a subordinate, and that reforms that proximity component. Now, and then there's the third style, which is collaborative or cooperative. And this is the group of people who they are the team. They are team-based. They don't want to do stuff on their own. They want to do stuff as a group or as a collective. And everybody at least in my opinion, it doesn't matter what your working style is. You just need to know what it is and then use that in order to get all of your goals met. And I've been yakking for a couple of minutes. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn this conversation kind of into a deeper dive. And I'm going to open up the floor. What questions do you have? What aspects of hypnosis intrigue you the most? And just take a moment, and if you want, go ahead and turn your cameras on, come off of mute. Because as you think of your questions, I want you to feel your curiosity growing and your understanding deepening. Okay? I want to unravel these mysteries together. So if anybody has a question, I'm going to open up the floor for any questions. Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I actually have three comments. One, when you were talking about autoimmune diseases, I just want you to know there are over 10,000 classified.
You're kidding.
10,000. No,
Wow.
that's a fact. The second thing is when you were talking about, I was a stockbroker for a number of years, and how the biggest mistake they'd make is they would take their best stockbroker and put him into management, but then he would have to give up his book. And that's where his lifeblood came from, was his his relationships with his clients. And then the third thing is when you're talking about making hypnosis more, accepted. I don't know whether anybody knows this or not, but chiropractors have just been approved to do acupuncture. Now they slipped this in and they got it approved with only 10 hours. Well, with 10 hours was not enough. So the Chinese doctors I know protested that. Now they have to have 100 hours, but 100 hours they can do acupuncture. They can't do wet cupping, but they can do acupuncture. So I can see hypnosis. I remember when chiropractors weren't allowed with football teams, and everybody's got chiropractors on their football teams now. That's my comments.
All right, I'm going to cheat. Jennifer, you said you had a question.
Just wasn't sure if we were doing the whole thing on Facebook Live or if we were going to do live and then turn that off and come back.
No, but I thought what the question that you asked me was so interesting that we would do it on the live call, and then when I close the live call out, we'll go to the mastermind. Did we lose her?
But no, I'm
Oh,
here.
there you go. Okay.
I'm here. I'm just not talking. Let me see if I can find what I wrote so I don't have to remember my question. I said I would like some advice on letting go of habits that don't serve us, because this time of year, everybody else is talking about, how to create new habits, but nobody's talking about how to let go of the ones that don't serve you. Or maybe they don't serve you as good as they should. And if anybody in here knows me, I love wine. But with COVID and family drama and stuff over the last 2 years, it started to not serve me, right? It's too much. I'm gaining weight. I'm tired, this kind of thing. So it's just drinking calories, right? So I was interested to know how do I let go of something like that? Like, I don't want to quit drinking. I don't need to be a sober person or whatever, but to take it back to a level that's good again,
Okay.
right?
So I need to ask you a question. You want to do some stuff?
What?
Hey, I said, hey, you want to do something right now?
Sure.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is think about that feeling. Actually, let me ask you another question. Do you have an image of the you that you want to be after you let go of this?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. All right. So
I
what
do.
I'd like you to do, okay, so you know what you want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. I want you to just for a moment scan your body and point to where that feeling is, where you're like, I'm drinking too much, I'm drinking calories, blah, blah, blah. Where is that in your body?
It's right here. Well, it's a little bit
Right
here,
there.
but yeah.
Okay,
Here's
cool. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to grab a hold of it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Pull it out and hold it in your hands.
Okay.
Open your eyes. Take a look at it. What color is it?
I don't see a color. I feel it. I don't
Okay.
see anything,
You
but I
feel it.
feel
Okay.
a
All
weight.
right.
It's a little
That's
bit
cool.
tingly.
Okay. All right. So you got it in your hands. What happens when you move it further away?
It wants to come back.
Okay. How about
Here.
when
It wants
you,
to come back here.
yeah, I'll bet. Okay. So grab a hold of it and throw it out there like 100 yards to your left.
To my left.
Your left.
Let's
Okay.
go through this one.
Now, how
Yeah.
does it feel?
Hmm.
Better, worse, or
Mostly
the
gone.
same?
Mostly gone, but
So,
not gone.
okay. All right. No. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to like pretend you have a leaf blower and you're just going to go and you're just going to keep blowing it out there to the horizon. And it gets, as it goes, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just on the horizon. Got
It's
it?
just going all the way.
Yeah.
You know
All
how
the
my
way
brain
over
works. I'm
there.
hoping it doesn't come back around the other side of the planet, but
No, it won't. Okay. Now, do you remember that image that I told you about or that I asked you about of who you want to be?
Mhm.
Okay. Where's that image?
That image is in my heart.
Okay. Okay. So what I want you to do is pull it out, stretch it out, open your eyes. Hello.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Pull it out, stretch it out. Okay. All the way, and then wrap it around you like a blanket. How's that feel?
Secure.
Excellent. So what I want you to do is to take that blanket off and like squish it down into something. And do you remember where that old feeling was?
Hmm.
Put it there.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. Okay. And then what I want you to do, are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Okay. So I want you to just reach up with your right hand and to your hypnotic phone and and as you put the phone to your ear, you'll hear maintenance. Okay. And just tell maintenance that you want to clean up on the aisle over to the left out on the horizon. Okay. You-
We
all
can
right.
clean up.
How's that feel? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
How does that feel?
Lighter and
Yeah.
warmer.
Okay. Okay. So this is an example of how fast you can make changes. And if that thing tries to come back, well, you can't get in there because you already put something new. But you know, if it tries to return, and you know what, we'll just go ahead and yeah, you can just call maintenance and get rid of it. Okay. All right. So that's a quick example. What you're going to notice that I do is I really prefer conversational hypnosis. The day and age of formal trance, close your eyes. I'm going to wave my magic finger, or we're going to count from 8 million down to 1. Some people need that, but for the most part, it's really simple, and you just go, imagine this. Can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? If they say yes, you can continue. And I'm going to show you guys how to do the simplest changes that you can imagine. And they're long lasting. The really nice thing that I like about the human mind is when you go in there and make a change, it stays. So do we have any other questions for today? And if you think of something, put the questions on the Facebook live video and stuff like that. I'm always happy to answer questions. A week from Saturday, which would be on the 13th, we're going to have an hour and a half instead of 20-30 minutes at 10 a.m. on Saturday Central Standard Time. So if you guys think of questions, you got stuff you want to change, or you got just any kind of questions that you have, you can post them in the Facebook group, or you can just message me and we'll set aside time and we'll work on that stuff. I want to thank you guys so much for coming to the call. All the mastermind people, please remain on the call, and I'm going to kick the rest of you guys off. I'll talk to you later.